Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. And let me start with an apology for yesterday. I know that some of you, if not all of you, were here on a Sunday, and I'm terribly sorry that you had to come and we were not ready with a negotiation. I honestly thought that that would be the case, and then there was a last-minute issue that required further consultations. So my excuses for that. So let me say that today I had a long discussion with Dr. Salehi, the Vice President and Head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, and we were able to agree on a couple of things, which are related, as you know, to this temporary technical understanding, which we reached last February in Tehran. We agreed, number one, that the information collected by our technical equipment at different locations in Tehran is going to be saved and will continue to be under the custody of the agency at every site where it is at the moment. This is number one. And number two, that the equipment and the verification and monitoring activities that we agreed will continue as they are now for 1 month, expiring then on June 24, 2021. So this is what we have agreed on today. I suppose that the most efficient way to go about this would be for me to stop here, because these are the facts, and then answer to your different questions or doubts as you may have them. So I'm in your hands.
Thank you very much. Francois Murphy from Reuters. Hi, DG. Perhaps you could give us some more specifics about this deal. You've never told us exactly what was covered by this deal. It's, some information has filtered through, things like the online enrichment monitors, yellow cake, centrifuge production. But could you tell us exactly at least some key elements of what is covered by this agreement? You described it before as saying that without it, you would be flying blind. Do you stand by that?
Yes, I would say, before going into some details, I would say that if this understanding was important back in February, it was even, in my eyes, it was even more important now. Because since February, a number of things, as you know, have been happening in Iran, in terms of the activities there, which have increased, which have grown qualitatively and quantitatively. So what we saw as a possibility that should be avoided back then was even more. So right now, in terms of what we are doing, as you know, this is apart from the general parameters which are given in the joint statement that I subscribed back in February. We have a number of technical documents that detail the places where we are basically having cameras, flow meters, and electronic online systems to check on the enrichment that is taking place in the different locations. So there's not much mystery. I mean, what we cannot get into is exactly what place, what kind of equipment, because this is, of course, safeguards confidential information. But basically, we are looking at what's going on there in terms of enrichment, in terms of the basic activities that are taking place. And this, let me add, is, of course, and I should repeat this again, this is not equivalent to the levels that you may have with the additional transparency measures that were provided for by the JCPOA and the additional protocol. I think we should all be reminded of the fact that this temporary technical understanding is a sort of a stopgap measure, is something that we came up with as a way to avoid, as I was saying before, flying completely blind, losing essential information to allow us, hopefully, if those levels of access are restored for us, so that we can reconstruct what may have been happening.
You said that the data will continue to be collected, but so does that mean that it won't be handed over now? The data that was collected over the past 3 months is not going to be handed over until potentially at the very end of these now 4 months.
That is correct. One thing that we had agreed on back in February was that at the expiration of the technical understanding, the information would be erased. And this is not going to happen. So this is an important aspect.
Albert Otti, DPA, German Press Agency. Sir, one question, but aren't you in effect flying blind now? I mean, the equipment is collecting the data, but your inspectors cannot access them. So for these past 3 months and for this additional month, aren't you effectively flying blind?
No.
And why not?
Because there are a combination of things. On the one hand, there are a number of verification and monitoring activities that continue. They continue normally. And we know what equipment is there. We have our own estimations, calculations of what is going on. And we know that we can support that at the right time with the backing information. We would be completely blind if we were not able at the right time to reconstruct and to reconcile the information. So we are not, Mr. Otti, I want to stress, this is not ideal. All right? This is like an emergency device that we came up with in order for us to continue having these monitoring activities, while at the same time recognizing the fact that, as you all remember, there was a law passed by the Parliament of the Islamic Republic of Iran suspending a number of rights. So we had to find some way. Yes, sir.
Hello, this is Ahmad Samadi from Iran International TV. Yesterday, one of the Iranian National Security Council personnel told to Iranian media the extension will be conditional. Do you have accepted the Iranian condition, and what are the conditions?
No, the IAEA never accepts any conditions for its mandate, in the discharge of its mandate and activities. We have a mandate and we have certain authorities which are derived either from agreements like the AP, the Comprehensive Safeguards Agreements, or agreements bilaterally entered into by the agency and member states. So what we agree is what we agree, and there are no conditions or conditionalities. Absolutely not.
Thank you.
DG, hello, Homalevsky from Press TV. You mentioned the data that's going to be collected in this month, this extra month, will also stay with Iran. So has there been an agreement that after this month is over and the deal expires, that Iran will delete or erase this information along with the information that was saved in the past 3 months? What's going to happen to the data?
We are going to discuss that when we get to that point.
So if I could just add, so if after a month there is no JCPOA, would that mean then that the level of cooperation between Iran and the agency will revert back to only it safeguards agreements with the agency?
Well, it's something that we will need to see at that point in time. As you are rightly mentioning, there is the important process of the JCPOA, which is ongoing, which is not involving the agency, as you know, so far. So this is one thing, and I agreed with Dr. Salehi that we'll keep in touch, monitoring the situation, if I may say so, and we will discuss what to do according to the circumstances. We are talking about June 24th. I suppose you will agree with me that from now to June 24th, there will be a lot of things happening on that front. And then we will have to come to a joint understanding between us what to do.
Are you worried about who will come next in Iran from the 18th of June? Is that worrying you?
Why would that worry me?
Like a new government which might not agree
Yes,
to...
I think there is something that is, in international law called continuity of the state. We deal with Iran, and the Iranian people will give itself its new government in the next elections. So I'm not worried, and I'm confident that whoever comes next will, of course, continue cooperating with the IAEA. I think it's in everybody's interest. I have no doubt about it.
Okay, if I may say something, to me you look, your body language doesn't look like you were very happy like the time before when you came from Iran and you announced that you have agreed for 3 months. You were more enthusiastic that time.
Well, these processes are complicated, I don't know about my body language, but I think February was, I would say, perhaps at a very difficult moment, and perhaps there were certain signs of relief, not only myself, but in many quarters about it, because we felt that we were very close to flying blind. As I was saying. Now it was a matter of deciding whether that kind of structure continues to serve a purpose. For me, it is obvious, but of course, Iran needed to be in agreement with that. I should say that, that agreement and this one allowed us to leave the door ajar. And so it stays for now.
DG, you're due to file 2 quarterly reports in the coming,
yes,
I don't know, days, week or so. So first of all, will you be able to report in as detailed a manner as in previous reports with this monitoring agreement in place, or will it reduce the detail to which you can report on what Iran's doing? And how is the discussion going on the outstanding safeguards issues, which you should also be producing a report on?
Yes. We expect to be able to continue to report in roughly the same manner. I don't foresee any technical problem in that regard. Coming to the other thing, this is a process which is running in parallel, if I may describe it like this. We had a couple of rounds, one in Tehran and another one in Vienna last week, and the effort continues. So what we put in the report, we will know once, I hope to have my technical advisors to have yet another round of conversations with their Iranian counterparts in the next few days, and then we will decide what we can report about. It's a very complex, detailed process, and it's ongoing.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Yes.
Hello, this is Rinkel Hosoka from Nikkei, Japanese newspaper.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Hello. I have 2 questions. you said you were supposed to have a press conference yesterday, but
Yes.
And it was postponed. And could you a little bit explain a bit more about what you needed time for? And the second question is additional protocol. And Iran stopped implementing additional protocol in February. And in the recent talks between you and Iran, did Iran say about it would implement additional protocol again or anything, something more? Thank you.
Well, on the first negotiations of this type and importance sometimes have unexpected turns. And this is what happened. It wouldn't make any sense for me to tell you exactly why. I mean, it was a process. We were checking things. And before you get to an agreement, there are lots of small disagreements until you get to a common understanding. So we felt, both sides, that a bit more reflection was needed to come to a point where we could converge. And this is what caused the delay. In terms of the additional protocol, I think the position of Iran, I mean, you should ask them, but as I understand it, it continues to be the same. They would be prepared to return to a provisional implementation of the additional protocol if and when an agreement in the context of the JCPOA negotiations is reached. This is, as I understand, their position. There is no separate discussion about additional protocol being implemented outside this framework.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Yes.
If I may ask, the equipment which is used now, is it from the agency or it is Iranian equipment?
From the, it's us, it's our equipment.
Okay.
It's our equipment, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, if no further questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you all.